bottling up emotions. What a feeling. All these feelings that we can feel and that we don't allow ourselves to feel more than anything.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about
in this week's episode of Get Real with the English Sisters. So join us. We're now in over 86 countries. People are listening. South Korea, Japan, USA, UK, Italy, and so many more. India. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? Thank you so much for all your support. And do go and follow us and come and see us on Instagram too. At Get Real with the English Sisters.
At Get Real with the English Sisters.
I am feeling ever so excited about this, and I am not bottling up these emotions.
Oh, no way. No way. We certainly know how to feel excited.
Even though sometimes I do feel as if I have like a bit of imposter syndrome, because sometimes when I see that, when I look at the charts and I see that we're in all these countries and people are listening, I can't really believe it. I suppose because it's a podcast and we don't actually
get feedback.
See you. We don't see you.
And
of course, those of you that do come and say hi on Instagram, it's great.
It makes it more real, though, doesn't it?
But otherwise, it's just like, oh, is it true?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I can't.
Just a little bit of numbness.
When you send me all these things, I think, oh my gosh, what? Like we've had 67 downloads in a remote part of the world. For me, I have a difficulty in not sort of believing it's true, because I know it's true, because it's not like, but it's like.
Is it because you think we can't actually touch it and feel it? If we went there and we see the people in the room, like what they say, if you can see the people in the room.
When you see the people in the room.
And then you can go and say hi to them.
Yes, because you can't
talk to them.
Well, that's it, isn't it? After all, we kind of need that connection, don't we?
You need the human connection.
We're not like trying to make you feel guilty here saying right to us, but it's kind of like we don't... It's like, yes, you can't sort of
but I'm sure that you are the same way. You must have had that experience where something's happened to you and then you just feel as if, did that really happen? Or, am I just kind of imagining it?
I think it's because when you don't have like real live conversations with people, that's why.
I think even when you do, because sometimes when you go somewhere and you might be told like, oh, you're really good at that and you're really good at that, and you just go, oh, thank you. But you don't actually kind believe it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And I think that is something to do with what we're talking about today, about emotions, how we process them. How do we actually take the time we need to actually really think about how we're feeling? Or does it just go like in one ear and out the other, like they used to say?
Is that a question of low self-esteem, do you think? Like, because you don't really believe what other people are telling you. Like,
I don't know.
You don't.
Human. It's just something that humans do.
What do they? or do we just do it? I mean, other humans, the people sometimes that we see like for therapy, we know that they may be suffering from that as well, and we actually coach them into believing more in themselves. So come on, I think it's also maybe because we tend to like not believe in ourselves that much, but I do believe in us and I do believe in the work we do, but I don't know. I think
it's because it's
online
I don't
content.
I don't think it's because we don't believe in ourselves. I think it's because it's something, when it's a bit too much for your brain to absorb, it becomes overwhelming, and then you just think it's just easier to go. Because let's face it, okay, we're hypnotists, we're hypnotherapy. We know how the mind works.
Yes.
We know what we do, and most of the time, I mean, people are scared of hypnosis, but really most of the time all of us are like in a hypnotic trance, which means we are just in autopilot. That is the classification of a hypnotic trance. It doesn't mean you're asleep, it just means you're in autopilot and you're going around your day without thinking about things. And I think that's what happens when someone breaks that and they say, oh, you're really good at that, or thank you, or you receive a compliment. It's like, hey, you're back in the world again. You're not just sipping your coffee and looking through your phone or doing your work. You're here with me.
You mean it's like a pattern interrupt, sort of like they've interrupted your daily thinking pattern and
your daily trance that we all go around in.
Do you think this is something that we do in order to repress emotion then? Do you think this is what we all do?
I think we do it in order to repress emotion, because when we're going around in our daily trance, so to speak, we get up, we brush our teeth, we have the same thoughts going through our head, whether it's negative or positive, and it's like, and then it's, hey, it's like a wake up.
Yeah.
It's like an interruption.
Even for the surprising thing is that even for good things,
well, yeah,
because we're talking about good things.
You've been interrupted here now. You have to.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to come out of yourself.
Come out of your shell and come into the world. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, gosh, I mean, that is quite impressive. That the fact that you've just said that. Yeah. So I think what we have to do is, like with our emotions, maybe we should aim for regulation, not repression.
That's a good thing.
Maybe we should learn. We should. I'm all chuffed about that. Very happy, yeah. Because I think that if we learn to regulate our emotions to a certain point, whether they're extreme happy emotions or extremely, or the kind of more intense emotions, if we learn to regulate them in a way that we can still feel them, but we're not repressing them, but we're not like. Sometimes then obviously you have to regulate them, don't you, to a certain point for normal kind of activities. If you want to feel like jumping up and down for joy because something great has happened to you, but you're in that kind of atmosphere where you don't think other people are going to appreciate that, or you might have...
Well, you have to read the room. Obviously, if you are in I don't know, I've just thought of something really sad. Say if you're in a hospital room and you've got other people receiving diagnoses that aren't good, and yours is really good.
Well, that's a fair point.
And people around you are crying and that. You're not going to start saying, you can inside, but obviously you're going to go away to another place which is more appropriate, and then be happy there. But I mean, that's just part of being human, isn't it?
That is, that's kind of understanding. Yes.
If you have,
But in general,
I think... If you understand like human behaviour and other people's emotions, and that is something, even if you're on the spectrum, you can learn how to do that.
You could learn, yes. So that's a bit of an extreme example there. But in general, I think if we learn to regulate our emotions, on a larger scale for everything in life, I think that could be really useful. Like a nervous emotion and frustrating emotions that can come up. I think if we learn how to regulate them by understanding that they're coming up.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's anger, there's happiness, there's so many. There's jealousy,
sadness,
envy, sadness, grief.
Feeling melancholic, feeling nostalgic, which has happened a lot in the past, over the past few years. I think if we do learn to regulate that, we won't be repressing it so much. It's like, we could just imagine
how can you regulate it though? You have to.
You have to let it out.
You have to talk about it.
Yes, you have to talk about it and let it out slowly.
It has to be like not taboo. You have to say, how are you feeling? You okay? You okay, mate? How are you? What's going on with you?
I think that you need to have, once again, have a human connection with somebody and actually have a real conversation with somebody. Friends, the family, whoever it is, therapists,
The thing is, a lot of the time you don't want to be the one that's the
emotional one.
The emotional one, the one that's going to be putting a downer on everything, especially if the emotions aren't that great. If they're not happy, even if they are happy, I mean, you can't always share happy emotions either. Some people are not
can get on other people's nerves.
They can get on nerves, or they can be a sensitive. Like you're having a baby, and your friend can't have one. You're not going to start jumping up and down saying how happy you are when your best friend, she's struggling for years, or or they've been struggling for years to have children, and you can't. Obviously, you have to know, what's going on around you. You have to be sensitive, don't you? I think that's important.
And sometimes being too sensitive is what causes all these emotions to be
because you think
up.
It can never be my turn.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. It's never kind of appropriate because everything else is so overwhelming for everyone else.
There's so much heartbreak going on in the world. There's so many people struggling with so many different things. Who am I to be able to express my joy now? That's
I
also
think that's a good point, because I think when you are an emotional person, you do tend to bottle your emotions up even further, because you feel as if you can't express your emotions, because you're also tuned into what other people's emotions are and you know about them. Because there's some people
you can
that
feel
just
them.
they go around as if there aren't any emotion. You know, they couldn't give they couldn't care less if other people, they're just like not even thinking about them. They're just thinking about themselves. So, hey, I'm great. You know, I'm doing this. I want everyone to kind of listen and see what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. And, you know, I've got a right to this.
Yeah, sometimes being too overly, or thinking that you're too overly emotional as well, because I think we're all emotional beings. It's just that some people have learned to repress it more than others, and that's not really doing them any good either.
We suppress it, and then it just all pressure. Then it comes out, or come out in your health, in a chronic illness or a heart attack, God forbid, or so, you know, or backache. You'll repress these emotions, and your body will stiffen up,
and it'll
That's
stiffen
why
up. It will
not
stiffen
in a good
up.
way,
Not
bad way.
No, yeah, definitely.
And it will.
Yes, absolutely not in that kind of way. It'll stiffen up in a bad way, like on your sciatica, on your backache, on your neck.
Where you actually might need it.
No, and it's no good. Definitely not good for you. And you'll think, why do I get these, pains now in my body? What's happened? Like, I mean, I got a terrible backache last time I went to the hospital, but I knew what it was.
Yeah, 'cause
I
you're
was
so
fully aware.
tense.
I knew I was so tense, sitting on that chair, waiting to get the results and everything. And I knew I was tense and stressed about it. I knew fine well. I mean, I just can't believe it. The next day I have this terrible backache.
Well,
Come
it's
on,
obvious,
it's so
because
obvious.
you're holding your body in a tense state. I mean,
Yes.
if you do the test at home and you just clench your fist and you stiffen your arm up, like if you're watching the video, you can see us. But anyway, I've got my hand out straight with my fist really tense.
Tight, yes.
And then you hold it
Clutched.
like that for a few seconds, and then you release it. You take a deep breath in and you release it. And you'll actually feel how much tension you're actually holding in your arm and your hand. And it'll go right through your body and you'll feel release. So that's what we do with our bodies all day long.
It's like we clench them.
We clench
them in
keep
certain
them.
situations. Yeah,
we keep them tight without realizing it, because we're so tense.
we do that to our breath as well. We
The
like
breath, we hold it.
in.
We
you
stop
know.
breathing properly.
Yeah, that's what some people say. Stop. You don't breathe properly. I mean, that's annoying in per se, isn't it? When they say you don't know how to breathe. I mean,
it's a subconscious action.
Yeah,
But what we
you
can
hold
do
it
is
like-
when we're very stressed, we've got cortisol going through our body's adrenaline, we stop breathing properly. So we stop taking those extra deep breaths that we have to do every now and again.
Yes, we do, and we start breathing rather rapidly, and so we're actually, receiving less oxygen, and so it causes a whole series of problems that we're kind of not really aware of because we've repressed it once again. So you have to become, I think, aware of the repression that you're doing to your own emotions, and whatever it is, like
And so if you are feeling an emotion, and I mean, I suggest that if you're going through, say, grief or some other emotion, anger, if you're feeling anger, there are things you can do. Like if you're feeling anger, you can go into a room and scream when there's no one around you, and you're not going to hurt anyone with your voice. But
do physical
you
activity,
can also
sport.
and exercise are excellent ways. That's why people feel they're so great after they go for a run or a walk.
Yeah, definitely.
And also when you're walking, you're breathing properly because your body just requires it. So subconsciously you just start breathing properly.
Yeah, and then definitely try and talk to somebody, have a real conversation with somebody, not just texting. It's different. Like if
Texting
you have
helps.
nothing else,
Texting does help a lot.
texting, like you can text the friend and say, I'm feeling rotten today, and that. But if you can
I think
actually,
even rather than texting, I
phone
think if you
call.
can phone them, or if it's not phone, but even the voice memos, because you can hear the person's voice,
Yeah,
which is very calming.
it can be very calming, yes. But it's because we do need that
Why do
kind
we
of
say, I
connection.
want to hear your voice?
Yes, absolutely. Like the other day, my son phoned me. He texted me and he said, "Mom, I don't feel well." So I said, "Well, can you do a video call? Because I want to see you." No, there's no need. And I said, "I just want to see your face. Can you just call me?" And then when he called me, I saw he had this massive lump here, like under his
lymph node.
under his ear and near the jaw. And it was a mandibular gland that had actually really swollen up. It's probably had something, I don't know. So I said, no, now that I've seen you, I want you to go and see a doctor. However, I just wanted to see him, like just
check in on his status.
Check in, even though, I see him a lot, but he doesn't actually live with me anymore. I just wanted to see him. And sometimes I think we can forget that when we text. The importance of actually,
because I think what happens is when you're texting, though, you can be texting, not really thinking about that person. So there's no intention in it. You're just writing, and you're not.
Or sometimes you can just say, "Yeah, everything's okay. All okay, mate." Like especially. But then when you actually hear somebody's voice, you can pick up and say, you can pick up on so many things and say, right, I don't really think my friend is okay.
No, you can hear like crying over the voice, can't you?
Well, that's quite extreme if it's crying, but you can hear.
But crying is one of these emotions that we need to be able to do.
No, absolutely. But they might not actually be crying. They might just be feeling whatever they're feeling.
Yeah, but you can't see crying in a text, can you? Unless you put a teary face.
Yes, but it's not the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the same. I'm agreeing.
So I think it's important, if we can, at least talk to somebody for real. Like for real, talk to somebody. Because that can help us express some of what's been going on. At least once a week, so with somebody that you care about, if you can. And if you don't have that kind of relationship, then
yeah, I think with friends as well. If you've got one friend that's hogging all the conversation all the time because they're going through a tough time or whatever, that's fine. But I think then you have to say, okay, now it's my turn. I need to talk about what's going on with me now. Can you just listen for a few minutes and give me some
support? Yeah, because all you need is just to really be listened to.
Yeah.
Obviously you might need a hug as well, but you need somebody to actually really listen to you.
Actively.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because I think we forget about that nowadays. It's all not just. I'm not. I'm addicted to my phone as well. I'm not saying it's because of, and a lot of the times I prefer to text because I don't want people to actually hear my voice, because I might not be feeling great. And so I think, no, like I just say, how are you? Oh, great, thanks, all good. And what's she getting suspicious now?
I'm just thinking of the last few texts I got off you.
yeah. Or you on the text you write yippee, all great, but then really you've been through something quite intense, and obviously when I see you, I always tell you, and that's why I find it very therapeutic.
Yes.
And you tell me, what's been going on. But yeah, definitely we can lack that in today's modern society even more now.
Because I think we have to put a brave face on, don't we?
Yeah, and there's times when we can just be walking around, even like in our normal lives, and we've got our ear pods on. Like you're going to a supermarket, you're buying some foods, and you're not even looking at the cashier that's serving you anymore, if you're lucky enough to have one. Otherwise, it's just
most of them don't have them now.
Well, here they still do in Italy. A lot of the times you have somebody, but like the other day, I just saw this person just going in with their ear pods on and not even listening and looking at the lady who was, and I thought, yeah, I get that because you're on a conversation or you're something. You know, in the past that would be considered rude to go around like that, you know, and not actually look at the person or still be on the or doing your own stuff. And nowadays it's like become more normal, but it does mean that we kind of lose connection even with, you know, the few people that we have around us.
With the locals.
Not yeah, and I think that's important. It's really important not to do it. Yesterday I went into a coffee shop and I was actually on the phone while I was ordering un cappuccino, and I said un cappuccino, and I thought I haven't even really acknowledged the lady that's serving me. And afterwards I went and I ordered another one, and I actually looked into her eyes and I connected with her. And I thought, wow, and I gave her a smile and I thought, God, I was rude before.
Yeah, I would consider that a bit rude.
It was rude, but I was actually on the phone. But did I really?
You could have waited to order. You didn't have to order
I didn't
away.
have to answer my phone right there and then.
Exactly.
That's
You
what I
are
mean.
addicted to
Yes, I'm addicted. I answered this client's phone call. I thought I didn't have to answer it. I could have just phoned back later, but I did. And then I thought, look, I'm as guilty as everybody else around here. And I got the human connection. I still remember her face now.
Well, obviously.
And it was a moment. And I thought we need more of these moments.
Well, we do, because that's what's going on now. There aren't enough of these moments.
I know
these
the
mirror neurons. We reflect each other. We
Yeah.
need these scientifically. We need these mirror neurons to every time we stare at someone or look at them in a nice way. Obviously, don't give them filthy stares. We give them a nice smile and a look and acknowledge their presence. We are getting mirror neurons back in return, which are giving us dopamine. They're giving us feel-good hormones.
Yes.
So it's like having a shot of feel-good hormones every time.
When
And
you
even
smile
if
at
they're
someone-
if they're not feeling great, you're going to make them feel better, and in return, you will feel better as well.
You will. So I know this podcast is about, you know, how to express emotion, but this is all part of it, because I think that the new world that we're into nowadays is kind of not really helping us to express our human emotions that much, even though an emoji and everything can help, but it's not the same.
No, it has become more loving, I think, with all these little hearts and emojis.
You kind of feel...
I think you can say, I feel I love you more than maybe in our times when, like, you know, our dad wouldn't even tell us he loved us. It was understood that we knew that he loved us deeply.
But
you wouldn't actually say,
it.
I love you. It was like taboo to say it for some reason. Like, you couldn't, like, express these things.
Yeah.
So now you can say I love you to your friends, and I love you to your
send
partners,
hearts.
and you
No,
send
you send
hearts
hearts,
and kisses and
But it's different to say to a friend, you know, I really love you. You know, when looking at them in their eyes, you know, than sending hearts out on a text. It's a big deal. You probably, if you say to a friend, I love you, especially men, I know that men don't hardly ever do this.
Yeah.
You know, or I miss you, you know, like, you know, men, they don't say to their best friends, I've really missed you. I don't think they say that.
They do more now.
Maybe more now, but like I was asking my son, he's 26. I said, did you tell your friend, he hasn't seen him for ages, how much you actually miss him? He goes, no, Mum, we don't talk like that. You know, as if, don't be weird.
But I don't think you would tell your girlfriends either. That
No,
you really
I think
miss them.
women
Unless
are better
you're
at this.
Good. If you were really good friends, you would. Otherwise, you can sound a bit needy. Especially if they're off doing their own thing and they're really happy.
No, but not like that. I mean, not, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes you've got your best friend that's going off and doing their own thing and they're really happy, and you're going through a more tough time, and then you can't,
you're
if
really
you keep
missing
saying,
them.
I really miss you, in the end you're going to put a dampener on that person, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just like sort of when you do manage to set a time to actually meet in real life, then to give them a hug and say, gosh, I miss you.
Lovely. No, but maybe lovely seeing you.
That's right. What are you saying? Lovely seeing you. Yeah.
Instead of so much I miss you, because that is talking about your emotions, I suppose. But it's
saying
also,
I miss you.
It could make the other person feel as if they can feel like, oh, I haven't being there for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but then again, you're not allowed to. So you're not allowed to say that. You have to repress it.
I think that's where you would repress it.
You would repress it, and you wouldn't say
Yeah,
I miss
and-
you, especially if they're busy.
Yeah.
You just say, oh, it's been lovely. Well, yeah, because you're suddenly getting. You have suddenly invented this persona that's really, really needy. I didn't. I don't know where you've just invented that from, as if there's some kind of weird stalker. I miss you. I miss you. I just meant it in a really nice way. Like you're both really busy and you're both doing your normal stuff, but then when you manage,
the other person was.
of course, the other person will say, "Oh, I really miss meeting up. It's really
Well,
sweet."
do you remember in the pandemic how much we missed each other? It was
Oh my
horrible.
God, that was
Yeah,
awful.
we couldn't see each other for years.
Well, yeah, well, not years,
like
but
it.
it was like
We were locked into our own little villages.
yeah, and that was horrible. That's when you kind of realize what really is
Ever
like.
since then, that ever since the pandemic, I have not wanted. Before I used to love staying at
Yeah,
home all
having
day
the home
and just
days.
staying in the garden, maybe working a bit online and that.
Yeah, it's put me off.
But now I always want to go somewhere.
Yeah, I know. We've been
Just 'cause
traumatized
you
by
can
it.
go somewhere because
Just
you
because
haven't got the police in here in Italy. We used to have the police at the end of the road checking documents and asking where you were going. I mean, it was
It was a horrible time.
a horrible time.
Yeah, that was really horrible. That's when you really realised how important it was.
Connection is, and actually seeing people, because you could be online. I remember once we talked to our colleague in America, and he was saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I can't go out and see anyone. It's so
I know.
hard." And yet we were talking from Italy to America, but it's not the same as seeing someone in person.
No, well, that's my point. Exactly. So I know, the COVID was a big trauma for everybody, whether you realise it or not.
Yeah,
Because some people say it wasn't traumatic.
They'd say
and
it
they-
was lovely because they've managed to be at home
And connect with their
children, and
family.
connect with their families, and maybe feel more emotions that maybe in their
were
everyday,
so repressed. Yeah.
run of the mill lives when they're just doing, going about their day every day. They didn't have time to do.
Maybe, yes. For a lot of people, they did manage to reconnect.
And they've managed to say, now I don't want that lifestyle anymore where I'm always running around and always, going to work and
It
doing
made
things.
you stop. Definitely made you stop and reflect. And then hopefully, we've risen from this a little bit more wiser, and we understand more what we need as well as to make us feel okay in our lives. Definitely, yeah.
Well,
Does
anyway.
make you stop anyway, yeah. I mean,
I think we're going to put it over to you now, give you the mic, and let us know, even on Instagram at Get Real with the English Sisters, what you think about this. And do you suppress your emotions? Do you find that it's difficult to actually absorb, really feel things? Is it really hard for you to feel things? Do you give yourself the permission to feel things?
yeah, and I do think, if we do learn that instead of to repress, we can learn to regulate them in a way that they come out, like what you said, in a nice way, reading the room, as you were saying, understanding the situation, but allowing them to come out without sounding like a needy freak or anything, but allowing yourself to say things like, to your friends, I have missed you and I want to connect more, or when it's possible, and or I love you, allowing these things to come out more will somehow.
So this is really nice.
Yeah. Not just this was really nice. This was great. Let's connect again. No, that sounds fake. I don't know. Yeah, because everyone always says that, and then you never really do connect many times.
No, I think they have to be genuine
Moments, yes.
You will know how to do.
Yes.
We're human. We know how to do these things.
Of course we do.
automatically.
Yes, there's no need for us to tell you how to do them, but let's do them more. Because I think it'll all make us feel better.
It certainly does.
Definitely.
Okay. See you soon, and thank you so much for listening and for downloading Get Real with the English Sisters. We really appreciate you, and
very much
we
so.
love you all in the way we can.
In the way we can, yes, definitely.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lots of love and smiles from the English Sisters. Bye.
Bye.